What is up, everybody? In this video, we're going to talk about why you suck at trading and what to do about it. I'm giving you solutions, okay? That's what this video is going to be about. So a lot of you might be thinking, oh, it's edge. I don't have enough edge. All right. Some of you are like, I got edge, but it's the psychology. Okay. All right. That might be why you suck at trading.
Or is it?
Back in January of 2020, I started my first trading community, and ever since then, I've talked to millions, if not billions, of traders. That is a factual number. Okay, that's overhyped. Okay, it's probably been hundreds, several hundreds of traders I've talked to, coached, helped, guided. I like the trading community. I like being involved with traders. If it wasn't for having other traders to be around, I would fucking hate this job. I love the job, but god damn it, it is literally like solitary confinement, and that would drive anybody mad. Okay? Kind of wish we still traded on the floors so we could yell at each other in the pits and then go fight by the bull out front, but that's not what's happening anymore. So I've had this obsession with trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with retail traders and why do they fail. And over the years, I've started to figure it out because you guys all have the same exact fucking problems for the most part. Some of you don't have the same problems as the other guy, but for the most part, retail traders all have the same basket of issues, and nobody's problems are really all that fucking unique. Obviously, when you first get into trading, it is incredibly overwhelming and you don't know what to fucking do. A lot of you probably think it's edge. Yeah, you need to have edge, right? You need trading edge. You need some way of consistently extracting more money out of the market than what you're losing to the market, and you're going to lose to the market. So trying to find that edge, it's pretty difficult, and you guys make it a lot harder than it needs to be. You really do. Now, some of you claim that, you just need edge and that's it. But oftentimes, really pretty much all the fucking time, your psychology fucks the edge up. For some reason, you guys just do fucked up shit and mess it all up, okay? I actually have a video. It's called New Trader Psychology. The link to all of these videos will be in the description below. I recommend this fucking video because in this video I talk about how you guys from the very first trade you put on are associating everything in trading with specific emotions, and ultimately you make bad fucking habits. This video that I'm making now is not going to be about this video. I would go watch that and then come back to this video. So with that being said, pretty much damn near every fucking trader I've dealt with that's been around for a while and has actually found what they think is edge, okay? Their psychology always fucks them. All of them, okay? So if you are perusing on the internet and somebody's like, oh, you just need fucking edge, that's all you need and you'll be all right. I have not met a fucking trader who's not had psychological issues. It's not happened yet. And if there's that one guy that doesn't have psychological issues, he's a fucking true psychopath or it's goddamn robot. One of the fucking two, okay? And the chances of that guy being you are slim to none. That's a fourth deviation trader, okay? Fucking chances are psychology's fucking you. All right? That's most of you. There's going to be one guy in the comments section where it didn't fuck with him. And for some reason, that one guy that speaks up in the comments section, I don't know if he takes it upon himself to be the official spokesman of all traders, but there seems to always be that one fucking guy that is speaking on behalf of all traders. I don't speak on behalf of all traders. I only speak on behalf of Tarukin. He is sleeping. You guys, I asked you to vote on Big Tarukin or Little Tarukin in the last video. This one right here called Proprietary Diaries Infrastructure. And by the way, I'm building out a playlist. This is the first episode in that playlist. It's called Fastest Way to Consistency. if you're not familiar with what I'm doing, I'm building a prop firm from scratch, and it's going pretty fucking good, okay? About a month into the fucking thing at this point, and I'm going to be making a series on that shit. Now, if you're interested in watching the behind-the-scenes stuff and my trading, there's the coffee. These are today's trades right here. You can see these pink and blue boxes. One of the prop traders built a sweet-ass indicator, and another one has built a journaling software, which I'll be showcasing on this channel, which that journaling software actually is going to have a lot to do with what I'm about to talk about. So if you're interested, there is a link in the description below for the coffee, Fat Cats of Wall Street. If it doesn't work, copy and paste it into the browser, because for some reason the link sometimes takes certain people to a dead page or some shit. I don't know why that's happening. I'm not very tech savvy. I just know how to trade and how to pet cats, I guess, and make fucking videos. Anyways, that's another thing. I have 5 fucking traders, and I actually talk about in the last episode how that happened. All of them have psychological issues. All of them, okay? You know, some of them know how to fucking trade, and they keep fucking themselves psychologically. So, it's one thing to find the edge, but it's another thing to get fucked psychologically and make that stop happening. And this is where all of yous, okay, this is where most of you, all right, this is where the 97%, because the failure rate's what, 97% or something? It's high, okay? The failure rate is super high. That's why these fucking combines exist, and don't ever put you on a live account, because they know how high it is, all right? And to tell you the truth, it's your guys' fault. It's you're the reason, you're the problem, okay? People need to take responsibility for their own actions instead of blaming everything else, all right? You're the problem, but here's the thing. You probably aren't very aware of what you need to do because, I mean, really the information is so sparse. A lot of trading channels just don't talk about what I'm about to speak about. Now, here's the issue. In order to be a good trader, you often hear me rant and rave about how important it is to review your fucking trades. Recording and reviewing your trades is so important. A lot of you just simply won't fucking do it. And those of you, I mean, that's an overwhelming, that's a huge problem. But it's not only that you need to record and review the trades, it's like what you're doing with that. That's how you get better. Sitting here and trading is not how you get better. This is a performance sport, okay? For all the motherfuckers out there that preach, you just need some fucking edge, you don't have edge, just execute the fucking edge, all right? Counting cards in blackjack at a casino, you have edge. But if you are not performing well, that edge doesn't matter. This is a performance sport. If you are a top-tier athlete in whatever the fuck you're doing, F1 driving, basketball hooping, golf swinging, curling, Olympic shooting, whatever it is, if you are not performing every goddamn session, and as a trader, you have to perform fucking 252 days a year or some shit like that. For fuck's sakes, professional athletes don't play that many games. This is why this job is arguably pretty fucking hard, because you have to perform. You have to perform at a top fucking level. Otherwise, the edge doesn't fucking matter. If you ain't performing, the edge does not fucking matter. You have to perform. You come in a little fucked up smoking weed, you're jerking off and trying to trade at the same time. You know, you get a little jizz in your fucking eye, and then you fucking miss the entry, and then you FOMO in, and then you get stopped out. That's your fault. And not everybody's got what it takes to be able to do that, because to live that type of life is pretty brutal, and it is a lot of hard fucking work. You have to perform, plain and fucking simple. That's the thing. When people decide to sign up for my coffee and shit, I tell people who ask me questions, You have to do all of this other shit. If you are not doing this other shit, it doesn't matter who the fuck you're learning from, okay? See, here's a huge problem. There are a lot of traders who just have no fucking idea where the edge is or what's going on. A lot of traders speculate. You trade the session, you didn't record and review, and you think you know what happened. I can fucking tell you for a fact you all suck at speculating. We all do. This is why I scalp, all right? Everybody fucking sucks at speculating. I have a video called Forecasting Trades. The thing is, when you guys are trying to speculate what you think something is, like in this video, you may have 3 scenarios of how the market is going to move. The 3 scenarios you're speculating on are only 3 scenarios out of hundreds of millions of potential scenarios that can play out. So when you guys are forecasting your fucking, what you think's going on in your trading or where the edge is or whatever, you're merely speculating. And chances are you're fucking wrong. What you think you fucked up on isn't probably what you fucked up on. What you think happened probably isn't what happened. Apparently there's this thing with like eyewitnesses in court. Apparently eyewitness accounts are like very inaccurate. So this is a little write-up about, this is from 2017. It's a published paper from the National Academy of Sciences called Why Eyewitnesses Fail. This is what's happening in your fucking trading, by the way, when you don't record and review your trade. The variables include viewing conditions, lighting distance, duration, distracting stimuli such as weapons, loud noises, and internal states of the observer, attention, motivation, skill, prejudice. I don't know what that word is because my vocabulary isn't very big. The man who wrote the paper explains that witness misidentifications are essentially failures of visual perception, seeing things accurately, or failures of memory, lack of precision in storage and recall. There are often times where people are just fucking it up in the court system. And it's pretty bad. That's happening in your fucking trading. What you think fucking happened in it, I can tell you, I've done a lot of reviews in my trading. A lot of the times what I thought happened didn't happen, and what I thought was good wasn't actually all that fucking great. Okay? And where I thought that maybe the market was just hard to trade that day, I actually find out that I'm the one who fucked up. So that's the problem. That's the problem for most of you right here. This is it. This is it. You can turn the video off. I'm just kidding. Don't do it. I don't really give a fuck. So that's the thing. You have no fucking idea what the fuck is going on in your trading. You really don't. You think you do, but you don't. You suck at speculating. That's why you suck at trading. That's why you're watching this video. And, you know, you suck at trying to figure out what you're doing. Here's how to be a good trader. This is the magic right here. It's not edge or mastering your psychology per se. Yes, that's a component of it. But how do you become a really good trader? What is the skill set you need to have? Faster connections, a sweet-ass indicator like this one right here, a bunch of seat timer experience? No, not really, because there are people who sit here for over a decade and still haven't figured it out, and that's fucking scary, okay? You don't want to be that fucking guy, all right? It happens. I've met several of those. Why you want this to take longer than it should, I don't know. Probably because of laziness, to be fair. I think a lot of you guys are just lazy and don't do what needs to be done. And trust me, I have my bouts of laziness too. I really do. And I'm working on fixing a lot of the shit. And over the years, I've gotten substantially better because I'm the type of guy that when the TV remote is just out of hand reach, I will implement a contraption from my surroundings just to get it closer to me instead of just scooting over there. I'll spend longer trying to build something to get the fucking controller towards me than standing up. That's somebody I used to be like that. Okay? So that's, I think it's really laziness, to be honest with you. And really, everybody wants to be a trader until they have to do trader work. You got to fall in love with it. You got to learn to fall in love with it, and you got to hypnotize yourself into loving doing the work. You do. And I have to do, actually, one of my prop traders, that is something we got to actually have to do. I'm going to put him through a hypnosis session on brainwashing him into loving doing the trading work. Now, I do have some old coaching episodes. I'm not going to pull up the videos. I think there may or may not be a playlist. It's the Slim Trady coaching episodes from a few years back. I got him to fall in love with doing the trading work, and he really did. At first, he didn't like it. And whatever I did, I don't remember, then it worked. Because he was sort of my first official coaching student. So really an alpha test. So you got to like the work. And the reason you need to like the work is because you need to be really good at two things: diagnosing the problem and implementing that specific solution until a remedy has been achieved. If a remedy has not been achieved, you need to re-diagnose the issue. Now, chances are you have a fuckload of issues. Best thing to do is get rid of the biggest, nastiest problems first. A lot of trading really good is taking away what you're really fucking up. So there's certain things that you're doing that are just really massive fuck ups. And if you can just take those chunks and get rid of it, you're going to be a lot closer to consistency, assuming there's some form of edge, which I'll talk about finding edge here in a bit. But just getting rid of shit that's clearly a problem, very blatantly obvious shit, is going to get you a lot fucking closer. So it's not really the matter of needing an indicator or buying a course or, finding some specific edge, because the thing is, when you do that, when you do find edge, you really won't know how good that edge is if you're not getting rid of the biggest problems and you're not going to implement other things that I'll talk about in this video, like P&L adjustments. So I used to be a mechanic. If you watch my 100 subscriber special, which is somewhere in the live stream tab, buried far away, I talk about how I got into trading literally when I had 100 subs. And I used to be a mechanic. Now, there are two types of mechanics. Automotive mechanic. There are two types of mechanics in this world. There are the guys who will just keep putting parts onto the vehicle until whatever problem it is goes away. And then there's the guy that will spend more time diagnosing the specific issue, isolating the issue, and fixing the problem the first fucking time. Okay? Now, while throwing parts at it may or may not work the first time, oftentimes you're going to spend a lot more fucking time fucking around trying to figure out what the problem is by putting on several parts until the problem goes away. You're just going to spend more time than proper diagnostics. That's just the case. And chances are you may have fixed something, but then something else happens. So there's a lot of you guys out there that are literally the mechanic that is just throwing parts on a problem. And I fucking don't like these types of people, but there are traders that, it makes my skin crawl. There are traders that are so desperate, they will sign up for my coffee, hoping that'll fix their problems. And when it doesn't, because let's be real, guys, you're the one who clicks the fucking buy and sell button. I don't. You're the one who has the psychological issues. You're the one who has to create the narrative. You're the one who has to have the skill set developed. You're the one, come on, like Tom Brady, a really good quarterback. I don't give a fuck if you like or hate the guy. He was really good. If that guy sat you down and coached you, chances are you're not going to be as good as him. because you didn't put in the work he put in, nor have the experience of putting in the work that he put in. So therefore, you won't be as good as him. Okay? So it's very unrealistic to think a specific trader, a course, or whatever is going to fix your problem. I used to think that way. So there's a lot of you who system jump. You're system jumping. I know plenty of guys that do this. System jumping, indicator jumping, and you get stuck in this loop, and you keep throwing parts at a problem trying to find edge, but really you don't know if you have edge. You don't know if what you were originally doing had edge or not. The thing is, chances are you might be doing something, working on, taking a course, or maybe you're trading a specific way and using a specific indicator or whatever. Chances are there might be edge there, but due to the failure of doing proper review work, you'll never fucking know. Like, it could be there. Like, edge is like in the middle of an onion. There's all these like outer layers you have to remove to get to the core center, which is where the edge is. Okay? And again, once you find the edge, you have to perform. You have to perform at a high level every day in order to get that edge to really produce. Okay? So there's a lot of people that are just surfing around, and there might be edge there, but you didn't realize it. Like, it's kind of like that one meme. You guys know this one. Obviously, people always write shit on it. So I picked the first one I found. You guys know this one. This guy's fucking giving up. Oh, fuck, there's no edge here. I'm just gonna go fucking system jump, find a new indicator, blah, blah, blah. Versus the guy that knows that there could be edge here, and he's gonna do what it takes to peel the layers of onion to find it. So that's very common, okay? And then typically those guys, after so many years, start to get really jaded and just get very negative about the industry as a whole, and then they either start blaming everything and everybody else or start dismissing shit and just become a very, like, crotchety fuck that nobody really wants to be around. Or they're just so goddamn helpless that they're just kind of living Groundhog Day, Bill Murray's Groundhog Day. If you've not seen that movie, that's also scary, and because that can be real life for you, waking up and going through the same cycle all the fucking time, and you ain't making no progress. So you have to be good at diagnosing your issues, and you have to get rid of all the bullshit. Okay? So whatever trading system you're trying to take on, it ain't going to work if you're not getting rid of the biggest obvious problems, the biggest psychological issues. Traders who have a more optimistic attitude and approach to trading tend to perform a lot better, is what I've noticed, versus traders who are in a negative rut. Very pessimistic, negative traders. You got to think of it this way. In order to be a good trader, a top performer, if you will, you have to be incredibly confident in order to pull this off. However, how can you be confident if you're really pessimistic and cynical about everything? You're not going to be confident you can do this because you don't think shit works, right? Versus an optimistic guy. Kind of like the diamond meme I showed you. So I've just noticed the traders that are very optimistic about it, and that I'm just so gung-ho about that optimism and shit, and just, I'm a law of attraction guy too. I don't give a fuck if some of you don't believe it. I'm not going to shit it down your throat. But part of that is when you really think highly that you can do this and believe in yourself and believe you can do it, it just makes you feel good. Put the magic aside for a moment. I do have another channel called Cultivate where I talk about that shit. I've not made a video. There's only 3 videos. And I've not made a video in a very long time. One day I will. Some of you are upset. I've not made videos. I'm sorry, but this comes first. Okay? And then I got to live a life outside of this, and I'm trying to start a prop firm so I can write my first book called Coming Out of the Closet. And if you're not aware, I have a 5,000 subscriber special. I used to trade in a closet, and it talks about why I do. So, you know, that's something I actually talked about in my proprietary diaries episode, which is the last episode. So you need to get rid of the biggest psychological issues, and it really goes back to my new trader psychology video. I really recommend this shit because you are everything you're doing, you're attaching emotions to it. If you can get your psychology on point, which is a whole nother skill set, it really is. There's a reason, like, professional gamers, like people that are competing at a high level in video gaming, they have psychologists because it gives them that extra edge. Sports teams have psychologists as well. Tier 1 prop firms have it. You need to get really well versed in this because this trading is a psychological mindfuck. It really is. And I've not met a trader who hasn't had psychological problems. Fuck them. Once they do find edge. So getting really good at mastering this and getting rid of all the bullshit habits, because FOMO and tilt is not one size fits all. Specific issues in your trading, specific price actions, specific P&L swings create specific emotions, and those specific emotions are what are triggering FOMO or tilt or whatever, which FOMO and tilt is not a one size fits all. FOMO and tilt is literally like a blanket. There are so many nuances to that. And becoming a really good trader, you have to be really good at diagnosing and figuring out exactly what the problem is. And again, the best place to start is to get rid of the biggest fuck ups. And for me, self-hypnosis has been one of the best things for me, and it's actually working for the prop traders. This is part of why I think I can get traders consistently profitable, because I know how big of a psychological mindfuck it is. One of my traders, his name's Chewy, he had been consistent, and then he stopped being consistent for about 2 months or so. I don't know exactly how many months. And the last 2 weeks, he's been crushing it. And he's like, dude, the meditations are really helping. The hypnosis is really helping. That's exactly what I thought could work. This is why I think I can do what I'm trying to pull off. I really think I could do a successful prop firm because I really understand why traders fail, and that's why I'm making this video. Okay? So, getting rid of the biggest problems, that's going to get you a lot closer to the edge. Because again, if you have these issues and you're not getting rid of the psychological problems, the biggest fuck-ups, no edge is going to work for you. Nothing is going to work for you, and you're going to spend 10, 20 fucking years never really figuring this out. So let's get a few layers of the onion peeled at this point, all right? Let's get closer to the core. So that's psychological shit. Diagnosing the problem, figuring out exactly what the problem is, creating a very specific solution, and implementing that specific solution until a remedy has been achieved and you're no longer experiencing these psychological issues. The thing is, this is something you're going to have to continue to do for the rest of your trading career if you want to be a top performer. You're going to have to, because again, there's going to be so many situations, so many setups, because every setup's nuanced. No two setups are really alike. The market is always doing some vastly different weird shit. Now, there's similarities, but things are always going to be a little different. And you're going to be put into positions all the time where you experience something for the first time. That's also why it takes many years to get good at this, because you have to go through several cycles. You have to go through regime shifts. You got to go through very low volatility, extremely high volatility, medium volatility. You got to go through liquidity changes where the order book changes. You got to experience a lot of different market regimes, because if you've not experienced it, chances are you're not going to be able to trade it well. Mike Belfiore has talked about this in a recent video. You have to prove you can trade each regime shift. So you need to size down and prove you can do it before sizing back up. It literally is like starting over when you go through regime shifts. And when you're new, it takes a while to adapt, then it changes, takes a while to adapt, then it changes, and it's maddening. It's like you're always a step behind. You got to go through a lot of those regime shifts, okay? And those are going to cause emotional issues, because you didn't experience your trades in this specific environment, or you didn't experience, maybe you've never experienced taking 10 break-evens in a row. Maybe 10 break-evens in a row cause a psychological meltdown, but you can handle 5 break-evens in a row. You just reached another level of psychological issues. So it never ends. You need to diagnose the issue, find the specific problem, the very nuanced, nitty-gritty grain of specific issue, and create a very specific solution, which I talk about in my other videos, that would-be self-hypnosis is the best bang for the buck, and keep implementing it until a remedy has been achieved. It's my belief you can hypnotize yourself or brainwash yourself into experiencing ideal trading emotions. So I have a video called Ideal Emotions. The 3 ideal emotions are contentment, patience. What the fuck is the third one? Calmness. That's the third one. Jesus Christ, I should know. So this will be in the description. Go down there so you don't have to dig for it. So it's kind of like a table. You got 3 legs of a table. One is patience, one is calmness, one is contentment. The moment one of those breaks, the table will fall, and you got to pretend like there's a turkey on top, and the turkey will hit the floor. So once any of those table legs break, you're fucked. Those are the ideal trading emotions. A lot of traders focus on bad emotions. Oh, I tilt. Oh, I tilt. Oh, I FOMO. Oh, I FOMO. No, you need to focus on patience, calmness, contentment. And meditation's huge. It really is. So I have plenty of solutions on how to get rid of that shit. So psychology from the beginning is something you should be working on and mastering from the start of your journey. Again, I talk about it in this fucking video right here. The moment you put on your first trade, you're creating emotions, and those emotions can turn into habits, and then a price action pattern can trigger a specific pattern of negative emotions. So you got to get that dialed in. And that's going to get rid of a lot of problems, because if you can perform from a place of calmness, contentment, and patience, you're going to have a higher probability at honing in your edge, seeing where the edge is, knowing where the edge is, and being able to execute the edge, which in turn gives you confidence, which in turn makes you more patient, calm, and content. So you got to get rid of that shit. Because if you don't get rid of that shit and you're not aware of that shit, then you're never going to see the edge that's in there. It's like picking up a fucking rock and it looks like there's flakes of gold on it. But then you just chunk it in the trash, right? But instead, if you start chipping it away at it, there might be huge chunks of gold in there. That's where the edge is. It's never going to just be blatantly obvious. You have to do work to find it, okay? And chances are it's been right under your feet the whole time for some of you, unless you're brand new. But for some of you, it's probably been there the whole time, and you chunked the fucking stone in the garbage when it was full of gold instead of chipping away at it. And also, in order to execute good edge, you need to perform at a high level, which means you need ideal emotions. So once we get rid of all that bullshit, that gets us a lot closer to edge. What we need to do next is we need to record and review the trades. Okay, we need to have an idea of where we think edge is. Okay, And I'm going to speak on behalf of myself because I am a momentum scalper. If you guys are swing trading, holding trades, it's going to be a lot different. Okay. However, when it comes to scalping or just smaller trades, this is sort of the realm I'm familiar with. This stuff will probably apply to some of you guys on a bigger time frame. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. So you have to record and review your trades. And what you want to do is, I like to download my P&L and put it into a spreadsheet. Now, my proprietary trading guys, we've developed a journaling software because I need something that does something specific. And actually, in this episode right here, the proprietary diaries infrastructure, I talk about why I needed a specific journal software to be built from scratch. And when we got it working and all that shit, I will be showing it on this channel. I like to put it into a spreadsheet, and I like to color code my trades. So what I do is I do something called adjusting the P&L. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to look at all of my trades that are impulsive or mistakes. If you have some other trading software, you can hashtag those trades or whatever. But as of right now, I'm color coding shit. So anything that is red, I'll color code the trades that are red on the spreadsheet. Those are either impulsive or mistakes. A mistake is I actually fat fingered the damn macro pad or some shit like that. Impulsive trade was just not a good trade. I want to filter those trades out because I want to see what my P&L would have looked like without that shit. Am I making money? So maybe I'm down. If I'm just remove those trades, would I be up? I might be up. Okay, that's a good thing. Again, we want to take chunks of shit we know are not working and get rid of it. Okay? We want to take chunks of shit that are not working and get rid of it. I'm going to have to adjust the fucking camera so we can get on the Tarukin. And oftentimes, you guys will be very surprised with your performance when you just start tagging every trade. And it can be really simple. Just put setup, impulse, and mistake. And take your impulsive trades and your mistakes and just filter those out. Filter those out and see if you are consistent. Maybe you're not. But for some of you, you might actually be consistent if you can just stop doing that shit. And that shit is typically psychological issues. When you're being impulsive, you're just not being patient. So it again, diagnosing why was I impulsive? Diagnose why you were impulsive, figure out the specific problem, create a specific solution, implement that solution until a remedy has been achieved and you're no longer experiencing that. Sometimes when you implement a solution, it may take a while for it to work because you got to change habits, and habits take time. New habits take time to build, and old habits take time to get rid of. And again, if you have an overwhelming amount of issues, you need to take the biggest fuck yous and work on those first. Take the biggest chunks and get rid of those first, because that's going to get you a lot closer to that edge. That's like ripping off many layers of the onion versus one little fucking ring at a time. Get rid of the biggest problems first. You're going to get rid of those impulsive and mistake trades. You need to look at your trading every fucking day, and then weekly results, and then monthly and yearly, and see what your performance would be if you could just get that shit under control. And for a lot of you, you might actually be consistent. You'll be surprised. And it's also very inspirational because, again, optimism here. You need to be optimistic about shit. It's very inspirational to take all that bullshit, get rid of it, and see what your trading could look like. And when you realize that, hey, I am a consistently profitable trader, if I could just stop doing these things, it creates confidence, and you're just going to trade better. Now, getting rid of bullshit is one way of getting a lot closer to that edge, okay? Now, when it comes to finding the edge, you may need to do more specific things. Maybe what you're doing isn't edge. Maybe you think you have edge. Whatever you think you have edge, you need to develop specific tags for. You want to tag specific things, like are you trading into ranges or are you fading them? You want to track those two things. Do you flip-flop between scalping and holding? You want to track those two different parameters. You want to track stuff like, I think if I do this, has edge, but if I do the other side, I don't think it has edge. And you want to track these things until you see that statistically speaking there is edge, because again, an eyewitness account isn't good enough. What you think is edge may not be edge. You need those hard numbers. You need that hard data to figure out if what you're doing really does work. Now, there is an inherent issue with that. You may take an outsized loss, which will skew your results when you're tagging stuff, or maybe you're not executing the shit as well. So you have to be very mindful of these things before you decide that this doesn't have edge or it has edge. So I used to race go-karts, and it was pretty easy to get a few seconds faster by just implementing certain things. However, to get fractions of a second quicker and to really push it into that upper echelons of a good lap time, it became way more work intensive and a lot more difficult because it's crazy. In racing, in order to get just that much faster, it becomes increasingly more difficult, more intense, a lot more work goes into it. Whereas in the beginning, you can get a lot quicker through just proper techniques. The same thing is happening in your trading. Getting rid of the psychological bullshit. Just taking that shit, chunking it out, filtering your P&L, getting rid of all of the trades you know are bad is going to get you a lot fucking closer. Now that we're starting to get zeroed in on what our edge might be, this is where it's going to be a little more labor intensive, a little more of a workload. It's going to get harder and harder the closer you get to pitch perfect performance. Okay? So what I do is I color code the P&L. Let's go back to that. Red or bad trades, just get rid of them. I want to see the P&L. So I have an adjusted P&L, what it looks like if I get rid of the bullshit trades. Then I color code trades either green or orange. Green means it was a pretty perfect trade. I managed it well. I did everything as good as I possibly could. When I color code it orange, that means it was a setup that I needed to take. It was a great setup, but the problem is I didn't manage it appropriately. Maybe I got in a little too late. Maybe I got in a little too early. Maybe I could have held it for more. Whatever that is, and this is where you got to be really honest with yourself. You need to rewatch your recorded session and pretend you're on the hard right edge again. And you want to like mentally execute that trade again the way you would have really done it had you been doing it a lot better, because there's a lot of times where I'm like, fuck, I didn't have range advantage or slip advantage in my trade. If you're not familiar with that is, that's just some lingo I use. I talk a lot more about mean advantage, range advantage, or slip advantage in my coffee, or you can try to find it on my YouTube channel. But for me, slip advantage and mean advantage are two big things. And those are tags I track, actually. Is my belief that with those tags, there's edge. Actually, I'll just give you the video. So there's a video called My Trade Setups. I give out the statistics on tags in that specific video. So if you're interested in tagging, I would take a look at it. Let me pull it up real quick. So you probably can't see it, but my slip tag had a 5-to-1 win to loss ratio. So out of the 5 times I implemented having slip advantage, it would win versus the one time it won it. And then my mean reversions were 4-1. So trading into a range had a 4-1 win to loss ratio versus everything else, which was 1-1 or 2-1. There was massive edge in those executions. It's not necessarily the setup, it's the way I'm executing it. So I'm tagging very nuanced shit to find the edge, like how I'm executing it and all that shit. So it is my belief that mean advantage and slip advantage is going to just produce an overall better trade. So when I'm reviewing the P&L, if I didn't quite do that, but I won the trade or maybe I lost it or whatever happened, let's say I won it, I'm going to color code that orange because I know I could have executed it better. That is like me being a race car driver and just, I know what I'm doing. I'm just tweaking my techniques, getting more consistent, just really pushing to get those extra milliseconds. So it's like having a lemon and just squeezing juice. If you get your psychology in check and then you get rid of all your bad trades, you can squeeze the lemon and juice will come out. But you want to get to a level of high performance. A lot of you think you can make more money by sizing up. And while that can be true, the best thing to really do, the best thing to do is Tarukin. You want to extract as much performance out of the size you're implementing now, because when you do size up, it's just going to be that much better. It's like squeezing everything the lemon has. So what I do at this point is I start to hone in what I think is edge. You need hard stats in order to find it. I want to, again, color code red trades, which are bad, get rid of them out of the P&L. Orange, I need to adjust the P&L. And green, don't adjust it. Those are good trades. They can even be good losses, okay? This is where you got to be really honest with yourself and your trading. And you can't really do a bunch of hindsight analysis where you're like, well, I could have top ticked it or bottom ticked that. No, you couldn't. You need to be real about it. Like, maybe I got into a trade and I only got 2 ticks out of it. But realistically, I knew at the time that I could have probably got 4 or 8. So let's see if it would have went 4 or 8. And if it went fucking 20, well, I'm not going to adjust my P&L and go, I could have got 20 out of it. No, realistically, I would have got out at 8 ticks. This is where experience really does matter, and you don't want to fudge that up, because realistically, you're not going to squeeze a trade for everything she's got. God damn, Tarukin, you look good. Bye. I'm going to adjust the P&L on these orange color splashes to what I think I could have made. Sometimes it's less than what I made. Sometimes I adjust it down. Sometimes I adjust it for more. Maybe I got out at the right target, but I could have got in a little better. And then what we're stuck with is my real P&L and then my adjusted P&L. And those numbers can be huge. I remember there was one day where I made like 1,300 or some shit like that, and I struggled bad for that 1,300. And it was a lot of trades too. And when I adjusted the P&L and got rid of the impulsive trades, I could have been up $8,000. That happened, I believe, earlier in the week or last week or some shit like that. I was up like a K or some shit. When I adjusted the P&L, I could have been up 5,000. So ideally what I want to do is get my actual P&L as close to the adjusted P&L. So that number is always going to be bigger. This is what my P&L would look like if my performance was perfect or really good, okay? And this is what my P&L actually looks like. If there's a huge difference between those two numbers, I'm not performing optimally. I'm just leaving too much on the table. I want to get as close to that adjusted P&L number as possible. So let's say I made $1,300 and my adjusted P&L was $8,000, and I took less trades because I got rid of the impulsive trades that could get me up a lot higher. And then if I managed it a little better, pushed a little further on targets because the volatility's higher, this is what that P&L could have looked like. I'm never going to be making that P&L. I want to get as close to it as possible. So let's say I trade that same session again. Let's say I have a similar session like that. Let's say I made $7,000, and when I look at my adjusted P&L after I do all the review work, it's $8,000. I'm only off by $1,000. So that tells me in that session, I was performing as close to optimally as possible. Again, we want to squeeze the lemon for as much as she's got. We're like the race car driver who's trying to get a gnat's ass of a fraction of a second off her lap time. And if we're able to achieve that, we're going to make more money, plain and simple, and you don't need to trade more size. And when you do trade more size, you're just going to make a fuckload more. And you're going to also be more confident and comfortable with actually trading more size when you're consistently performing as close to that adjusted P&L as possible. When you're performing as optimally as possible, you're just going to be more confident and more well-rounded. So that's how you get to the edge in the middle of the onion. Now, when it comes to the trading techniques, because obviously psychological shit aside, and we've already beat that to death, you're going to have to start making adjustments technically speaking. You have to make technical adjustments in your trading in order to get that optimal performance, that optimal adjusted P&L. You got to make technical adjustments. Same techniques you use for getting rid of the psychological issues and training yourself to have ideal emotions, contentment, calmness, and patience. Those same tools and techniques can often be implemented with adjusting the technicalities of your trading. So if I'm not getting slip or mean advantage, I need to visualize the fuck out of it, create a hypnosis track. And I mean, that to me, hypnosis is so huge. Just brainwashing myself into performing well. And being disgusted, I use like a reverse hypnosis technique where I use negative stuff to disgust me, like a pile of dead bodies and the smell and the blood coming from their eyes, and they're naked with white, pale skin and blue veins. Like I start to imagine that scene and that stench with not doing the right thing. And then I start to like interlace the two things. It's kind of an NLP technique. It's called like a swish pattern. You can look it up online. I do it a little different. So I'm using this technique where I'm swishing it in my hypnosis sessions to where I'm like interlacing this situation with that, this and that. And then I like get grossed out and I don't want to do that anymore. But obviously I got to program the ideal thing, which is having mean advantage and slip advantage. That's how I'm going to make the technical adjustments. And these are techniques I'm using with the prop traders to get them better. And they're starting to, we haven't gone full force yet, and they're starting to get better. So that's how you get there. But, you know, being consistent is one thing. Chances are, if you are consistent, there's a lot more juice in that lemon that you could be squeezing out. And that's how you get closer to that. And this is what I'm doing with my traders, myself included, because trust me, I've not been squeezing it as hard as I could. I'd complain about how hard 7-figure trading is, but I know I can get a lot closer to that. So with that being said, if you like the video, you can donate as little as $3 to my coffee as well, or you can join and see what we're doing behind the scenes. It's like this channel on steroids. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one.